lesson 12.3. It's going to be all about dot plots. So here's your unlock the problem. Hannah is training for a walkathon. The table shows the number of miles she walks each day. She has 1 day left in her training. How many miles is she most likely to walk on the last day? Here is the number of miles she walked, and each box represents a different day. So for instance, this day she walked 9 miles, this day was 6, this day was 1, this day was 2, and so on. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a dot plot. You have experience making dot plots. I know you made them in 5th grade. So we're going to draw a number line with an appropriate scale. And now if I'm looking in here, I can see that my numbers vary from 1 to 9. 1 is my smallest number, 9 is my biggest number. So I know my number line only has to be big enough to fit those numbers on it. So you can draw a number line from 1 to 9, or like they are suggesting here, you can make it from 0 to 10 just to give yourself like an extra space on either side. So here is kind of what that is going to look like. Here's your number line. So let's draw this on our paper, and let's put 10 little hash marks there, almost like the laces on a football, and then put your 10 numbers right here. Now this is called a dot plot. It's also called a line plot. Maybe you know it as a line plot from 5th grade. We call it a dot plot in 6th grade. It means the same thing. We need to label this bottom. We need to know what these numbers mean. These numbers signify the miles that Hannah walked. So they have part of it done already. She walked 1 mile 1 time, so we have 1 dot. She walked 2 miles on 4 different occasions, so they put 4 dots there. 3 miles she did 3 different times, so there's 3 dots. And 4 miles, there is 4 fours in here. That means she walked 4 miles on 4 different days. So we put 4 dots. The key here is that all the dots need to be the same size and the same space. They need to look like a computer typed them on. When you're making them on your notebook paper, they need to look like a computer made them. Everything needs to be the same. So what I want you to do now on your piece of paper, now that you copied this, is to do what step 2 says. For each piece of data, plot a dot above the number that corresponds to the number of miles Hannah walked. Complete the dot plot, making the correct number of dots above numbers 5 through 10. Again, you have experience doing this last year. I believe you used X's. Sometimes they use X's that are stacked on top of each other instead of using dots. It's the same thing. But for 6th grade, we're going to use dots. So go in there and count however many 5s you see and put that many dots above the number 5. Same with number 6, same with number 7, 8, 9, and 10. Put the number of dots. There might be spots where you don't put any dots. That's okay. So do that before you watch the rest of this video. So hit pause and do that. Okay, so hopefully you have this many dots for 5. You should have 5 dots. You should have 6 dots, or sorry, 1 dot for 6. And you got nothing for 7, nothing for 8. There was no 7s or 8s in there, so we don't put any dots. You had 2 9s, so we put 2 dots here. And you see how all of the dots are the same size and they're spaced out the same way. That is a must for a dot plot. If you make dots bigger or smaller, it makes your data look wrong. What was the point of the dot plot? Let's see. The number of miles Hannah walked most often is the value with the tallest stack of dots. The tallest stack in this dot plot is for 5 miles. So the number of miles Hannah is most likely to walk on the last day of her training, based off this data, is 5 miles, because she has walked that the most times. So what a dot plot does is it takes data like this, which is what you call raw data, where it's all mixed up. It's not even in numerical order. It's just a bunch of random numbers. And it organizes it into something that looks like this. Now that it is organized in this different way, we can easily see what was the most popular walking distance that she had, and what were the distances that maybe she never tried before, what was the least popular ones. It's just a way to organize your data. So now you can also see why it's important to make sure all your dots are the same size. If we made really giant dots here for 9 miles, those dots might have been a little higher. They might have looked like, there was more dots there. So all the dots have to be the same size when you're making a dot plot.